Previously, on keeping up with the Kenya Kwanza government.
Kama wazazi, kama serikali, kama viongozi, tusiwapiganishe watoto wetu.
If you were to ask most people who the greatest betrayer in history is, they'd probably blurt out Judas Iscariot without missing a beat. But ask President William Ruto and you might hear a very different answer. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Engage in business. That is what we should be doing as leaders, instead of inciting them to violence, to destruction, and many things that will not solve their problem and will not solve the problem of our country.
To Ruto, Uhuru isn't just a footnote in the history of betrayal. He is the main event, the maestro of political backstabbing.
Kwamba mpira ni rahisi ukiwa wewe ni spectator hapo kando. Ingia kwa kiwanja ndio ujue hata uwezi kimbia hata.
Right now, the president and his loyal brigade have seemingly traded their political playbooks for chapters straight out of the Book of Lamentations. Their grievances, Uhuru's alleged dirty play. This all stems from a fiery message from the retired president urging the youths to fight for their rights.
Shida ya watu siku hizi, everybody ana sijui mumeogopeshwa, sijui even you gena naona rudi uingie hii majenzi nyinyi ndio the story of the future.
While Uhuru likely saw this as a motivational call to action, the Kenya Kwanza government interpreted it as a Molotov cocktail of rebellion aimed squarely at the government's doorstep. To them, it wasn't empowerment, it was an act of treason.
Our young people, they deserve the best from us. Kama wazazi, kama serikali, kama viongozi, tusiwapiganishe watoto wetu. These young people of Kenya, they don't need violence. They don't need confrontation. They want opportunities. They want jobs. They want opportunity to engage in business. That is what we should be doing as leaders, instead of inciting them to violence, to destruction, and many things that will not solve their problem and will not solve the problem of our country.
Kwamba mpira ni rahisi ukiwa wewe ni spectator hapo kando. Ingia kwa kiwanja ndio ujue hata uwezi kimbia hata kidogo.
Rais mstaafu alifanya yake, tukampatia nafasi yake, akamaliza. It cannot be business as usual. Wewe ukishastaafu, kaa nyumbani, ukae uone vitu zikiundwa.
Kwa nini ati wewe wananchi wachochewe kuharibu serikali? Na nchi hii wakati itapata shida, hata yeye, hata kama ako na mali nyingi, yeye pia atakuwamo ndani hapa. Si ati atahepa. Bana, unless ahepe mapema kabla maneno haijakuwa mbaya.
Picture this, a man who once shared meals with you, wished you well and even loaned you a few of his political allies for good measure, suddenly starts rallying the masses to fight your administration.
Karibu sana bana.
For Ruto, it is a betrayal so profound it will make Kaiser's et tu brute moments seem like a playground squabble.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Asante. Thank you for nyama. Karibu sana bana.
The root of this drama traced back to an infamous meeting at Uhuru's Ichaweri home. At the time, Ruto seemed to believe he was on the verge of winning over the Mount Kenya region, a political battleground that had grown increasingly hostile following Gachagwa's impeachment. Uhuru appeared to offer an olive branch, even sprinkling in some of his loyalists to help Ruto steady the ship. For a while it worked. Smiling photos from the meeting spread like wildfire online, building the illusion that the two leaders were now rowing in the same boat. But just as Ruto was starting to feel the winds of cooperation, Uhuru flipped the narrative.
Waka hapo mambo mali yenu ichukuliwe na nini, mumeitolea jasho. Msikubali, pambaneni, muhakikishe mumepata haki yenu. Mnasikia nyinyi? Sio kukaa hapo tu. Kuna kitu inadumu. But everything is worth a fight for. If you don't fight for it, ikienda mtu asilie. Msimame mupiganie haki yenu. Na mko na hawa watoto wamebaki ambao wako tayari kupigania haki yao. Waungane pamoja nanyi.
His call for the youth to rise against perceived injustices left Ruto's camp reeling. This was no minor betrayal. It was the political equivalent of inviting someone into your home only to find out that they have been handing out spare keys to your enemies. For President Ruto, whose political career hangs by a precarious thin thread, this kind of opposition from someone as influential as Uhuru Kenyatta is the stuff of nightmares. Mount Kenya remains a ticking time bomb of discontent, and having Uhuru, a figure many still revere, position himself as a potential antagonist could destabilize everything Ruto has worked to hold together.
Most of political leaders, current leaders and former leaders of our country, not to encourage our young people to commit acts of violence, regardless of our political affiliation and differences. Let us not encourage our young people, the future of the nation, into acts of violence, into acts of civil disobedience. When you stand before young people, our Gen Zs, you must, as a leader, you have a moral responsibility, because all leaders are parents and we lead the country, and you had an opportunity to lead the country. Do not ask young people and encourage them to commit violence. Encourage them to keep peace and stability of our country.
The president now finds himself in an unenviable position. Should he dig deep into his bag of tricks or his treasury to bring Uhuru back into the fold? Or will he risk watching his once reliable ally transform into the figurehead of a resistance movement? One thing is for sure right here, this betrayal saga has all the makings of a political soap opera, and the stakes couldn't be higher for the man at the center of it all.
Rais wetu alipata inji ikiwa hali mbaya, na ile mwendo amepiga hatua. Hata kama tusipohesabu vitu vingi, umeambiwa walimu wangapi wameandikwa kazi.
Wewe ukatuahidi kwamba kwa vile saa hii uchumi umekuwa sawa sawa, sasa wewe unaenda kufocus kwa zile miradi na kwa zile ahadi ambao uliambia Wakenya ili uweze kuzitimiza.